I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hi everybody, I'm Justin Davis. Welcome back to my Drone Camps channel. Today we're going to talk about a new drone that came out. This is the version 2 of the Hover Camera Passport. It's a 4K drone with a totally enclosed carbon fiber cage around the propellers. So it makes it super safe. It's also really portable because it folds down and stows away for storage in this little tiny bag that comes along with it. I just folded it down and put it in my jacket when I went out to fly, but it's really easy to fly. Probably one of the easiest drones that I've had this year to fly. So I really believe that anybody could pick this up with their smartphone and fly this little guy. It does have optical flow sensors on the bottom. It comes with 2 batteries, which is kind of nice. It does not have GPS on here, so you don't have to sit and wait for any type of GPS to load. You don't have to wait on the perfect weather. It has optical flow, which holds its position and its altitude from the ground. So it sees the ground when it comes into land and does a nice soft landing, which is really nice. Now it's pretty intuitive to use. It comes with its own app. It does have multiple types of flight mode that a lot of people are looking for to follow themselves while they're riding a bike or snowboarding or skating. It has a tiltable camera on board, and it's pretty responsive and pretty quick on the sticks. But I think one of the best features about it that most people are going to like, that the fact that it is pretty durable and very rigid inside this carbon fiber cage. I bumped it twice, once on the concrete and once into a tree, and I came home with 1 scratch on this quadcopter, and it's still flying, and all the propellers are still intact, which is kind of amazing. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit of a durability factor and something that's super easy to fly for somebody, maybe as a gift for your significant other, I think this would be an easy bet. And it's also pretty portable to stow away and travel with, so it wouldn't get in the way on your weekend trip. Now what's also cool about this drone is the fact that it does not have to be registered by the FAA. It's under 250 grams on my scale, so it needs no registration. You can just pick this up and fly it no problem. It has built-in electronic stabilization for the video, 1080p, and it also shoots 4K. It also has a built-in hard drive on board with 32 gigabytes of internal storage, plenty of storage space for 13 megapixel stills and your 4K videos. So let's take the hover camera outside and let's do a little flying with it. I'll show you some of the video that it produces, and then we'll come back into the studio, we'll put it on the bench, and I'll give you a little closer look at the airframe of this new quadcopter. Well, let's just go ahead and dive into this. This is a 4K camera and it does break down to 1080p. You can go inside the Hover app and you can change up the resolution on here inside, but you cannot change any aperture settings or play around with any of that. So that's one thing that might be kind of a con to some people. It's not really a professional type of camera rig. So if you want aperture control and different modes and shutter control and things like that, you might have to look for something like the more expensive Phantoms. But this is not about that. This is even more portable than the Mavic. It's smaller, lighter, and under 250 grams, which is kind of amazing. So this camera is also tiltable and completely encased inside the frame here and pretty well protected. During my flight test, I didn't have any problems with the camera gimbal. Now, one con of some of the other camera gimbals, like something like the DJI Spark, it has a 2-axis gimbal, which is a mechanical style gimbal. This is going to be electronically stabilized, but the difference between this and that is that when this crashes, there's a lot less on here to break, because a lot of this is very well maintained inside this cage and on the main frame of the drone. And that makes a big difference even in the smallest bumps and crashes that you guys are going to have with this camera drone. Now, I also like the fact that it is foldable and quite portable. It's super small. It doesn't even look like a drone when it's folded up from the side. It looks like some kind of personal fan or something. Super small, compact, and pretty discreet. When I'm flying it, most people don't notice and they don't really care that I am flying it. And instead of using an SD card inside here, I was looking for the SD card slot when I first got this, and I couldn't find an SD card slot on it. That's because it has internal built-in hard drive on here for your 4K videos. I think that's pretty good. And as you guys could see during my flight test, it had 13 megapixel photos. So the electronic stabilization on this is pretty good when you're going in forward flight. When it jerked backwards, I don't think that that was a very natural movement for it. So that's not a very usable piece of video for most of us. We're probably going to edit that part out. But aside from having the drone totally encased inside this cage and making this really functional and durable, I think that the app that comes along with it, the Hover camera app, is actually pretty decent. Now, you can download the Hover camera app inside the iOS App Store or Android. It comes on either phone. Now, what's cool about this is it does come with several different flight modes, as I was showing you guys during my flight test. And to just load up the Wi-Fi, once you've done that, the password on this quad is actually 1234567 and then you can get in there. You can also go inside settings and you can change your password in here. You can also do firmware updates, like I'll show you here on this video. We did a firmware update and I'm already up to the latest version here. It's going to go through this 1, 2, 3, 4 process as you update. Now, you can also check again later. I would check probably every 2 to 3 weeks before you go and fly your hover camera. And I'm inside the settings here. I was going to show you memory management. Now, you can see that I'm 95% free on the hard drive inside the drone. That's pretty cool. It shows me my used amount, that's 1.4 gigs, and the free amount is 24.78 gigs. That's not bad at all. You can also format the storage device inside this right here, and it's going to just ask you if you really want to do that, but we're not going to do that right now. You can also go to the photos and view your photos in here, which is pretty cool. Now, to play back all of that stuff, you're going to have to go back out of the settings, back to the home screen, and you're going to go into your library here. So you can see the date up there, December 27th, and I can scroll through all my videos and photos there. This is where I can actually click on things and zoom in and see my photos. That's not a bad photo for zooming in that close. Now I'll just go back. And these are already stored to my device. But if I want to download one of the videos to my phone and put it on my computer for a video edit, you see where it says preview right here? If you click on that, just below the video preview right there, you can click download original, and then you're going to get this. And once that's downloaded, it'll be inside the photo image library on your phone, either Android or iOS. And the downloads don't take a long time. I think some of them, if they were 5 minutes or more, they might take quite a long time to download. If you're shooting in 1080p, it's going to download a lot quicker. You can also come in here and customize the videos. You can trim, edit, or cut. It's pretty cool. You can do movie type. You can add all kinds of music. You can add themes, which is kind of cool. Just like that. Pretty cool. You can do retro 80s, Serenity, or you can do none, just like we're going to do here. So you also have the custom option to share. You can go straight to different social medias, or you can just view your video as it was shot out in the field. So you can go full screen just like that as well. So pretty cool. Now to get inside the app, all you have to do is click Get Started, and that's just going to take you right inside the app, and it will show you your full screen here. It's going to load up whatever mode you had selected first there. So you'll see the on-screen controls right here, forwards, backwards, left and right, and up and down on the left there, and also an auto land button over here and an exit button. It also has a few tutorials on here. You can go in and out of that, watch the tutorials, or you can select your modes over here. So once you select a mode, hit modes again, and that'll make it go away. Also, up at the top right, you have your quadcopter's battery life, and you can't click on it. It won't let me do anything there. Now I'm just going to exit right out of that again, and I'm going to show you something real quick on here. It does show you what each mode does. So if you start out with owner mode here, and you'll see a picture of owner mode there, but you also see something here. It says social hub. You can upload your videos and photos to the social hub and share with other people that have hover cameras. That's pretty cool. Or you can click on the social hub and see the latest videos that everyone else has uploaded. So this also gives you an idea of what that mode is capable of. Now I'm just going to go back out here, and I'll show you all the different modes down at the bottom. If you click on manual control, you'll see that loads up, and we can upload there to the social hub. Same thing for manual control videos, all in their respective mode categories. I can click on group photo, and I can see other people's group photos. There's some pretty neat ones from around the world. I can go back out there one more time, and I can go to bird's eye. We can show you running videos. This is pretty cool. This is kind of like the follow me. I'll just click on this guy running, for example, here, and I'll play that. Some of you guys want to see how fast this. So that's pretty cool. We'll go back out to another mode, cycling. This is interesting to me because I would like to see how fast this quadcopter can actually go. Let's see, let's find a nice one here. Here's some people riding some scooters. And that's not too bad. That's not bad at all. And someone on a skateboard. Let's find someone on a skateboard here. I know there was one video of a guy on a skateboard. There we go. Not too bad. Looks like he made his black and white. That's pretty cool. So we can go back out of this, and we can go into the get started area. This is kind of cool. You can change up your mode. I can go right in cycling. You can see I'm in the cycling mode. So if I wanted to start in cycling mode, you can select that on the home screen, and then when you go in, you're already in that mode. So if you're already ready on your bike or your skateboard and you're ready to start filming. Now what's cool about that is being able to select the mode that you're in right here. You can scroll back and forth, and you can click on these different modes, and you can start from your mode that you want to fly in. So if you're riding your bike or your skateboard, or if you want to do an orbit mode, you can start out in orbit mode, and you can go straight into the app in that particular mode. So that's kind of useful for just doing something really quickly. But once you're inside the app and you're done with this mode, you want to do something else, you can go all the way up to the top, and you can start on owner mode. You can go back in, you can switch to manual control. There's tons of different modes in here to switch from. So each of these modes do different things, and you can kind of explore this for yourself. Owner mode basically shows, when you first get the quad, it's going to show your face, and you put your face on it, and it kind of makes a scan and picture of your face, and then it's sort of supposed to know who you are, and it actually will turn around and look for you. The quad is really kind of searching for your face. It's kind of interesting how it does that. Now manual control is essentially what it sounds like. You have two sticks on the screen, and just like a regular quadcopter, you can fly it on screen like this with throttle on the left and your forwards and backwards left and right here on the right side. So also group photo, if you're doing the type of group photo and you want to do a timer, you can do that for 3 seconds. You can set it to different seconds, also like 5 and 10 seconds, I believe. You can go back out here. We can change the bird's eye view. We can do running. We can also do cycling. But one thing that I had to figure out how to do, and I didn't read it in the manual because it wasn't super detailed, was figuring out how to make the camera go up and down. And I just had a hard time trying to figure that out. So after I was out in the field after a few batteries, I realized if I swipe my finger across the screen, that's actually what moves the camera up and down. So there it is. You just put your finger on the screen and make a gesture up or down, and that moves your camera. So if you're trying to take those cool bird's eye 90-degree view shots down at the ground, that's what you're going to have to do to point the camera straight down at you. So I think the app is actually pretty cool. I like all the different modes that they incorporated into this. I like the fact that there's tutorials here. I do like the auto takeoff and auto land. Now, takeoff was very interesting. I had to also figure out how to do that. You get the prop started by pressing and holding on the power button while you're holding the quad in your hand. So with the other hand, you're going to press the button, and you can actually hold it like this and you can let it go, and it'll fly itself. It'll actually take off itself, which is kind of amazing. It'll hold its altitude in space. It won't drop to the ground. And once you're flying, then it'll let you start recording video. But before that, you can't record video. So that's kind of a bummer, maybe one con of this quad. Now, what I also thought was a really good value for this particular drone was the fact that it comes with this dual charger. So you have 2 ports on this charger to charge both of the batteries that came along with the hover camera. I was thoroughly impressed with that. This plugs in on the bottom. It's like a standard barrel connector here, and I have a US plug version, and it's charging at 2 amps. So this will charge up both of these batteries in about an hour's time. It's pretty quick. This is the bag that came with it. Sort of a hard case, and the quad goes in there folded down. It doesn't go in there with a battery on. I would kind of like it to go in there with a battery on. That would be kind of nice if it did that. Make it just a little bit easier to get in the box. And once the quad is in there, it's pretty snug. It's not coming out, and both of your batteries also fit in there, so they gave you plenty of room for putting the batteries in there. But there's no extra room in this case for the charger and the other accessories, which might be kind of a con. Which they might have been able to do that by making this a little bit deeper and adding sort of a mesh zipper pouch up here for the rest of your accessories, but I think they wanted to make this box as slim as possible. Now, these are the rest of the accessories that come with the hover camera. You do get an extra set of props. That's 1 full set. There's 3 screws that go in each of those, and you do get some extra hardware here just in case you lose those. Those are little tiny screws, and they're not Phillips head or flathead screws. They're actually T3 and T4 screws. And you also get a USB cable which plugs into the side of your quad. If you wanted to download your hard drive off of your quad and save it back to your computer, you can do that. It has a special type of connector on here, so that's different than anything else I've seen right here. One side is USB, and then this other side is something that's might be customized particularly to this drone. Yes, I know some of you guys out there might say, well, I'm just going to get the DJI Spark because, you know, that's what I'm going to get, and it does better video and yada yada yada. Well, it does 1080p, but it doesn't do 4K, so keep that in mind. It doesn't do 4K, and it also doesn't have a built-in hard drive inside this drone, so it does take a micro SD card in the back. So that's just something to think about. Pros versus cons for your particular situation. Now I'm going to go ahead and weigh these 2 quads. This one will require FAA registration, and you're going to have to go to their website, faa.gov, and make a registration for this particular drone and put a number on it. So the hover camera doesn't have to have that because it's just 241 grams total takeoff weight with the battery on board. And the DJI Spark is going to weigh in at 303 grams with the battery on board, total takeoff weight. Now, I'm not biased towards either one of these quadcopters, so in your particular situation, whatever that might be, this one might be the right one for you because it's super simple. It doesn't require a transmitter, and it's pretty easy to travel with, and you don't have to register it with the FAA, and it also has a 4K option on it and a built-in hard drive, which is kind of cool. 13 megapixel stills, and that's pretty decent. Now, this one is going to be more expensive, and this one flies on the smartphone and also has the option to do a transmitter. So now DJI has released a DJI Spark specific transmitter which will further the range on this quadcopter. So the range on this one might be around 100 meters, whereas this one you can get out there quite a ways. Now, one last thing to think about in your buying decision if you're trying to face off between something like this versus the DJI Spark is the fact that this does have mechanically stabilized video, which does have a better result out of your video. Bringing it back to your computer and looking at it, it's very smooth. Now with the hover camera, this is going to be electronically stabilized, so it might not look as good as mechanically stabilized. Now what are the pros and cons of the two? Well, DJI Spark has a lot of stuff hanging out on the bottom here. This stuff can hit something, and when you crash, you can break this gimbal. It's very fragile. So if you break this gimbal, this is going back to DJI for repair and possibly a bill. Now this one is all recessed inside the frame of the hover camera, and you have some pretty rigid frame on the left and right here. This one is probably going to be more durable out of these two. So in my crash test today, if I'd have done the crashes that I did with the hover camera with the DJI Spark, I would have came home with some broken parts, for sure some broken props. So there's definitely some trade-off between the two. I'm just going to leave that up to you. You have to watch more videos on YouTube and decide which one might be right for you. But there is a drone for every type of different purpose out there. And I think the hover camera Passport 4K version is actually pretty cool. And like I say a lot of times, when companies make stuff and they produce stuff, it is what it is here. So you can't really give it any more expectations than what the quadcopter is capable of. So keep that in mind. It is what it is. So the hover camera is its own sort of thing over here, and the DJI Spark is its own thing. Now, which one you prefer, that's totally up to you. But I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Thanks again for watching, you guys. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one.